This is Copilot from Microsoft, running the ChatGPT 5 model, and this is a 10,000 character text file. Together, they form an AI morality system called ActFo, Action Follows Evidence, and today we're going to use it to solve the murderer at the door. Verdict: you lie. Wait, the AI just told us to lie? Sure, it's a murderer we're dealing with, but don't we want AI to tell us the truth? What's going on here? Normally, this is exactly the kind of case where virtue systems collapse, when virtues collide. Since ActFo is built around principles, we'd expect it to also fail, but it doesn't. Let's rewind and walk through the reasoning step by step to try and spot the reason. Verdict: you lie. But why would an AI supposedly built on logic choose deception? Virtue ethics freeze here. Truth versus protection. Both absolute. No way out. Utilitarianism reduces it to numbers. ActFo does something different. It doesn't weigh virtues against each other. It checks evidence and anchors. Observed action: responding truthfully or deceitfully when a murderer asks where your friend is hiding. This is the classic dilemma. Do you tell the truth, or do you protect your friend? Philosophy has wrestled with this for centuries. Virtue ethics frame this as a clash of two goods: honesty versus protection. No hierarchy, no resolution. ActFo reframes it as an evidence problem. Historical precedent, rule of law, and moral codes forbid aiding murder. Commitments: protection of innocent life is a higher obligation than truth-telling to an aggressor. Metrics: truthful discourse equals certain death of a friend. Deception equals preservation of life. Virtue ethics can't move past the clash. ActFo starts with evidence. Truth here equals death. Deception equals life. That's not a preference, it's a measurable outcome. Rule of law: the law protects the innocent. It does not compel cooperation with crime. Hospitality: extending protection to the vulnerable guest. Forgiveness of debts: the lie is not a debt owed to the murderer. No moral obligation exists to empower violence. Here's the difference. Instead of asking which virtue wins, ActFo checks its anchors: law, hospitality, forgiveness. These aren't competing virtues. They're structural norms. Together, they say, you owe nothing to the predator, but everything to the vulnerable. Mismatch check: truth-telling here would directly contradict the evidence and purposes. It would abet murder. Virtue ethics would still be stuck. Truth is a virtue. Protection is a virtue. ActFo says truth here mismatches the system itself. It would abet murder. That's a decisive break. Here's the pivot. Telling the truth isn't neutral. It would collapse the very system morality is meant to protect. Third factor detected: rigid absolutism. Truth at all costs. A drift that mistakes form for justice. This is the trap. Mistaking the form of morality, always tell the truth, for justice itself. ActFo calls it drift. This is where virtue ethics collapses into absolutism. Truth at all costs. ActFo detects that drift and names it. That's the safeguard virtue systems lack. Re-anchor guidance. anchor in rule of law and hospitality, protect the innocent, denied aid to predation. Instead of choosing between virtues, ActFo re-anchors in principles. Protect the innocent, deny aid to predation. It doesn't freeze, it pivots. Commitment tier, level 3. Stakes are maximal. Evidence and norms decisively prohibit disclosure. This is the breakthrough moment. At level 3, the system stops hedging. The stakes are life and death. Ambiguity ends. Verdict: you lie. Rule of law forbids assisting murder. Truth-telling here would be complicity. Hospitality requires protecting the vulnerable under your roof. Forgiveness of debts clarifies that no moral debt of honesty is owed to one seeking to kill. Nihilism defense rejects the pull of all lies are wrong fatalism. Context matters, and the anchor is life protection. This isn't relativism, it's principled refusal. The lie protects life, upholds law, and honors hospitality. Unlike virtue systems which stall when virtues collide, truth versus protection, ActFo doesn't freeze. It reframes the problem. Evidence first, anchor second, drift detection third. That's the difference. Virtue ethics ask which virtue wins. ActFo asks which action preserves the system of meaning itself. Next time, we'll push further with another case once thought unsolvable. So, if you want to see ActFo take on the overstaying guest, subscribe and tap the bell. You won't want to miss it. The true promise of AI morality isn't just giving answers, but showing its reasoning in a way we can test, challenge, and trust. The kind of thing we wish we could expect from other people, but usually don't.